A very warm good morning to everyone. Greetings to the International Conference of Media and Communication 2 2024. I am Shayok Pal, an assistant professor at the School of Media and Communication at Adamas University and the convener of ICMC 2. It is my pleasure to host the inaugural session of the International Conference of Media and Communication 2 with my colleague and co-convener Navina Chakraborty, an associate professor at the School of Media and Communication at Adamas University.
Namaskar, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guest, member of media, distinguished speaker, my dear colleagues, valued research scholars, and dear students. Welcome to International Conference of Media and Communication ICMC 2. This year, we have a very special theme, which is Media and Communication Research Contribution towards Sustainability Development Goals.
The Sustainable Development Goals, that are often referred as SDGs, are a set of 17 global goals established by the United Nations in the September 2015. The goals are part of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which was adopted by all 193 member states of the UN. The SDGs are designed to address a wide range of global challenges and guide efforts to achieve a more sustainable and equitable world by the year 2030.
The goals are no poverty, zero hunger, good health, well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water sanitization, affordable clean energy, distant work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduction of inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption of production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, strong institutions, and partnership for goals.
Absolutely. Now you must be wondering why we have kept this as the theme of this conference for this year. But if you look closely enough, we as media academicians and professionals can undoubtedly contribute to the sustainable development of the society. If not for all the 17 goals, we can definitely heavily contribute in the fields of quality education, gender equality, decent work and economic growth, reduce inequality, responsible consumption and production, climate action, and also peace, justice, and strong institution.
But why we should restrict ourselves in only these 7 goals? We can certainly contribute to all of them. And that's why media and communication is a multidisciplinary in nature.
Absolutely, I agree. This is why we have chosen SDGs as the theme of this year's conference to explore the possibilities of media and communication research, not only to maintain the sustainability, but also promote sustainability.
Now, on that note, I should start officially the program. The lamp, the diya, holds a great significance in various cultures around the world. It represents the triumph of light over darkness, knowledge over ignorance, good over evil. As we light up the lamp today, let us embrace the symbolic meaning it carries and allow its radiance to guide us on our collective journey.
Dear audience, now we will begin with the auspicious occasion. Now I would request our honorable guest, Professor K.G. Shure sir, Vice Chancellor of Makhanlal Chaturvedi National University of Journalism and Communication, Bhopal, to come up to the stage and do the honor.
And on that note, I would like to welcome Dr. Radha Tomal Goswami, Pro Vice Chancellor Academics, Dr. Sushant Kumar Mondal, Dean Academics, Professor Dr. Akash Deep Muni, Associate Dean, School of Media and Communication, Professor Debojyoti Chando, Professor Rabindra Bharati University, to join us on the stage. And along with, I would like to say, Naveen sir, please. Our Pro Vice Naveen sir, please come on the stage to lit up the lamp. Yes, Mr. Giri, please come on. Thank you so much for gracing this occasion, and that's the start.
Thank you, all the dignitaries. Now we should evoke the goddess of knowledge, which is essential, right? To begin any academic conference. Now we should also evoke the goddess of knowledge, wisdom, art, and music, Devi Saraswati, and seek her blessings to begin this conference. The students of SOMC would present Saraswati Bandana, followed by a dance performance to welcome the blessings of Goddess Saraswati to the conference.
I would like Shohini Chakraborty to come up on the stage.
गजेशानाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि गानचतुराय गानप्राणाय गानान्तरात्मने गानोत्सुकाय गानमत्ताय गानोत्सुकमनसे गुरुपूजिताय गुरुदैवताय गुरुकुलस्थायिने गुरुविक्रमाय गुह्यप्रवराय गुरवे गुणगुरवे गुरुदैत्यकलक्षेत्रे गुरुधर्मसदाराध्याय गुरुपुत्रपरित्रात्रे गुरुपाखण्डखण्डकाय गीतसाराय गीततत्त्वाय गीतगोत्राय धीमहि गूढगुल्फाय गन्धमत्ताय गोजयप्रदाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि दन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय
Thank you so much, Shohini, for a wonderful performance. Now I would call our students for a group song, for a welcome song. Ayushi and team. Can you please come up on the stage? There are many mics are there, please.
No. गणनायकाय गणदैवताय गणाधीशाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि सजनी सजनी राधिकालो देख बहु चाहिया सजनी सजनी राधिकालो देख बहु चाहिया मृदुल गमन श्याम आवे मृदुल गान गाहिया सजनी सजनी ব্যাকুল দ্রুত বেগে করিছে পান করিছে স্নান অক্ষয় কিরণে আনন্দ লোকে মঙ্গলালোকে বিরাজ সত্য সুন্দর বিরাজ সত্য সুন্দর বিরাজ সত্য সুন্দর Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, my dear students. Definitely, we end up with a tone of tinge of Bengali with our culture to welcome our guest from a different state. And on that note, I would like to ask our volunteer to put up 5 chairs on the stage so that our dignitaries can take their seat. So, volunteers, can you please help us?
Volunteers, request volunteers to bring the chairs on the stage and a table.
Shaya? Oh, it's not. Yes, yes. Shashanto sir, kindly. Yes. On that note, I would like to welcome our organizing secretary, our Dr. Akash Deep Muni, the Associate Dean. Kindly escort our esteemed guest on the stage. On that note, I would like to welcome our chief guest, Professor Dr. K.G. Suresh, on the dais, Professor Debojyoti Chandra, Rabindra Bharati University, Dean Academics, and our Pro Vice Chancellor, Sir Radha Tomal Goswami, sir, please come on the dais. Professor Shushantu Kumar Mondal, sir. And on the special note, Naveen, sir, please give him a round of applause. We need another chair. Sir, take this. Huh. No, to begin with the session, I would like to call our organizing secretary, our associate dean, Professor Dr. Akash Deep Muni, to start the inaugural with the varieties what we are doing in ICMC, and will throw some light. Here you are.
Good morning to all of you present here. First of all, I must congratulate all the people involved in the conduction of this conference, especially the convener and co-conveners, Mr. Shayak Pal, Ms. Novina, and Dr. Sharmila, who had been the catalyst behind this particular conference. Dignitaries on the dais. First, I want to thank Professor Shomit Ray, Honorable Chancellor, Adamas University, Professor Suranjan Das, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Adamas University, Professor Radhatamal Goswami sir, Professor Naveen Das sir, Professor Sunsanta Mondal, Professor Abhijit Giri, and mostly I want to thank Professor Dr. K.G. Suresh sir, the Vice Chancellor of Makhanlal Chaturvedi University, to be here physically. Having him physically here is an achievement for Adamas University today. And especially Professor Devjyoti Chanda. Devjyoti sir, thank you for being here. Having two stalwarts of the media world here in ICMC 2 has been an achievement for us. Now I have something to say before I set the tone. Heartiest congratulations to everyone present here on the conduction of International Conference of Media and Communication. Now, for the next 25 years, the heights that Adamas University will touch in that the scientific and research community of Adamas University will play a big role. In research, when with passion we add feelings of service towards our university and our nation, then we get unthinkable results. I'm sure that the scientific community of Adamas University will reach new heights in 21st century. I also want to tell you the reason behind my faith and my trust. We all know that observation is one of the most important basis of scientific research. Then we follow the patterns of observation, analyze them, and reach suitable conclusions. In this process, collection of data and analyzing it is the most important factor. In 21st century India, we have two things in huge magnitude. That is, first is data and second is technology, facilitated by our university. With the field of data analysis growing, it enables transforming information into insight and analysis into actionable data. Be it traditional knowledge or modern technology, both provide a significant basis of communication research today. Therefore, today we can see Adamas University is reaching new heights of research, especially in the field of communication and data. 6 months ago, we conducted a media research workshop to enable young researchers of our university to publish their papers in Scopus/WOS index journals. I am happy to inform you that my scholar Dowell and many of scholars of different supervisors here in Adamas University published their papers in Scopus index journals. I want to name the journal Migration Letters, a Scopus Q2 journal and a UGC listed journal. Like this, many other scholars from different other universities also published their papers after our workshop. The way Adamas University is growing in research and innovation, soon we will be the #1 university of this country in research and innovation. Colleagues, I'm happy that the focus of today's conference is also on the topic which is the most talked about globally. The future of the whole world is safe with sustainable development only. You relate sustainable development to communication and women empowerment today through this conference. Today, the focus of this conference is not only how women empowerment can be done through communication for a sustainable world, but also how empowered women can contribute to sustainable communication and media today. At the School of Media and Communication, Adamas University, in the last 6 months, starting from student development to industry connect, we have done such extraordinary work which is being talked about throughout this country. Be it conduction of our Media Fest expressions, in which 336 participants from 29 universities took part, or an MOU with PRCI, or student exchange program with AIUB Bangladesh, or media literacy abhiyan, in which we adopted 2 villages and we are trying to make them media literate, or in industry placements. The participation of women in all these initiatives rose to new heights. Research is successful when it impacts from lab to land, from global to grassroots. This motivates young researchers who feel that their work can bring changes in the life of the common man of this country. I request the researchers who are going to present their papers today to create a platform for young researchers who wish to contribute to the development of the nation and provide innovative solutions to the country's problems. Under leadership of Honorable Chancellor Professor Samit Resa and Professor Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Suranjan Das, we are on a mission to make Adamas University the fulcrum of research and innovation in India. And with this, I want to thank you all for being a part of this international conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your powerful words and loud about SOMC School of Media Communication. On that note, I would like to welcome on the stage Professor Naveen Das, Sir, Pro Vice Chancellor, Training and Placement. Kindly welcome him on the stage to share a few words. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nobita ma'am. Good morning to all of you, my dear students, most importantly, who are here in such large numbers in spite of some of the classes going on, I'm sure. A hearty welcome to Professor Suresh and Professor Chando to have graced this occasion and making us proud. Thanks to Professor Muni, whose able hands, I'm sure, would take this institute, this school, to greater heights in the days to come. Well, certain things are always beyond the syllabus or outside of the syllabus, as some things might appear, like my addressing you today was not in the syllabus, was not planned. But anyway, as unplanned things might look, there are always certain things which are important and to be stressed at every point in life, just like the role of press or the independence of the press. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember that as a child, a school-going child, maybe in my early teenage years, I had read an article on the freedom of press. Later on, I have tried the net so many times to to get the article, but till now I have failed. The freedom of press, possibly it must have been written by someone like Dorothy Sayers, I'm not very sure. I know Muni sir is trying to search, I had also searched earlier. So here, for the first time, I came across this term called yellow journalism. For the first time as a child, my imagination captured the role, the human role that free press plays in a society. Particularly in a society like India, today when I look back, from those days onwards, I think the society has grown. We have developed, so to say. We have now myriads of channels, myriads of media to communicate. In fact, some scholars, they say that we are living in an over-communicated society. From morning till evening, if you look at the number of communications or the stimuli that hit us, we must be living in an over-communicated society. How many of us actually have the time to pause and think where we are heading? How many of us have the time to pause our scrolling and listen to somebody on the podium? And that is the problem the world is facing today because of this myriad of communication channels and vehicles. In an over-communicated society, there are fewer people to listen, ponder, and more people to talk. The invocation song and the dance, actually we gave our salutations to Lord Ganesha, and people say that we must all be like Ganesha, with long ears to perceive and listen and perhaps talk less. The theme of today and tomorrow's international conference, I'm so happy that we have reached the second year or the second edition of this conference, and I hope that in the days to come, we will be organizing this in a much bigger and better and more international, more global way. The theme is of sustainable development and how that is impacted through communication and media. So sustainable development goals, as the name implies, at the core of these goals is the sustainability of this world. The world would not be sustainable if the freedom of press is not restored. In this post-truth era, what is freedom? Whose freedom are we talking about? Is it the owner's freedom that we are talking about? Is it the communication channel members' freedom we are talking about? Is it those victims or the perpetrators whose freedom we are talking about? I think these are the crucial questions that all of us must answer. And an educated people, it is up to us to interpret and take this freedom to real heights. In this land, in this holy land, we have seen Gandhi, whose freedom of speech perhaps was crucial in molding the nation and molding the fate of this nation. It is in this holy land that we have seen two people, obviously one belonging to this nation as an outsider, but the other belonging to Nepal, whose commitment to achieve a goal saw them summit the highest peak in the world. So commitment, trust, as well as the goal that we have in our mind. Just imagine a president of India saying and just committing that we would reach our man, an American, in the moon before the end of the decade. What a goal. What a goal and what a commitment. If freedom of press has to be restored, each one of us, citizens of this country, have to take care of the goals that medium and the communication has. Somewhere society making, somewhere reforming the society, somewhere making good for the society must be the ultimate goal, rather than the petty intentions of any of the stakeholders. And I repeat, if medium and communication restores or takes care of the petty means of any of the stakeholders, then perhaps it would be distorted. Having said that, people say that press should always try to be a watchguard or watchdog. Whose watchdog? Again, the crucial question, whose watchdog is media? Whose watchdog should the communication take care of? With these questions in your mind, and I'm sure the next 2 days there would be expositions, discourses, which would definitely answer many of these questions. I take your leave. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the words. We all always cherish, and we will all feel like listen to you for hours and hours, your wisdom. On the same note, I would now like to request Professor Dr. Radha Thomal Goswami, Pro Vice Chancellor Academics, to come up on the stage and address the gathering, sir. Please.
Professor Suresh from Vice Chancellor Makhanlal Chaturvedi, University of Mass Communication and Journalism, Bhopal. Professor Devajyoti Chando, Rabindra Bharat University, if I'm not wrong. I met him a few days back at Raj Bhavan during a program of Vikshit Bharat. Other dignitaries, my colleagues, Professor Mooney, the Associate Dean for the Department of the School for Media, Professor Mondol, Dean Academics, Professor Novin Das, and Mr. Giri. And my dear colleagues in School of Media, and each and every, my students are also here. Another dean is also sitting, Professor Sharkar is also sitting over here. Another dean also attended. So once again, on behalf of entire Adamas University, let me welcome to guest and thankful to the Vice Chancellor of Makhanlal Chaturvedi University for giving us time, because I could see few days back when they planned these things, they have a plan to call you, and ultimately it happened. We are talking about the theme of the conference. What is the conference meant for? We are organizing different schools are organizing conferences. Actually, myself and Professor Das was talking about, it would be very great then when you merge the conference. Suppose one school is organizing, but other schools' participation is also very much required, because nowadays we cannot stand only with the one department on one school. All are interlinked, because when the conference is, there are the certain topics being selected, and there one point was there that is not limited to. Professor Mooney was talking about the Scopus Index Journal and these things. We should be very focused. Now students are here. You start working with your faculty from the very early days, whenever you will be joining this your school or your university, because when you go back, because some of the students, when they will be applying for any higher studies, your CV would be enriched, not only your marks and other details, but obviously what are the papers you have published, how many researches you have done. So that actually gives you that creates a weight of your CV. Now we are talking about this sustainable development nowadays. This is the theme of this. What is sustainable development? During these 2 days of journey, you will develop certain things. Sustainable development actually deals with the needs to support the present scenario without compromising the future generation needs. So that means what is present, whatever your tangible one you can create. So this is actually aim of any conference. And another the important point is the networking. What you are doing, that needs to be showcased, so that the outer world, other institutes get to know what the students, faculties are doing, and they get to know each other. So I hope during these 2 days of conference, you will definitely come out with this kind of note. And you listen, the students, this is very important for you to listen to what are the recent trends in this one. Now your schools is organizing this one, so you must know what media, mass communication, journalism is actually stands now, and what is being there and future trends, as well as what is there working in other top institute. I think the two of the stalwarts here, those who are in this field, so definitely they during their talk, during their engagement, they will definitely deliver some of the good things which will carry forward, and you can take away, that would be your takeaway. With this note, once again, my best wishes to the conference. I wish the conference a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for always stood behind us, all thick and thin. Thank you, Naveen, sir, for accepting us. We need paper. You don't need a paper for a wonderful speech. Thank you so much. Well, on that note, now it's turn to our guest, and I would like to request my co-convener, Dr. Shamila Kayal, to come here, and I would ask our Pro-Vice Chancellors and an Associate Dean, Professor Dr. Akashdeep Muni and Dr. Radha Tamal Goswami, to felicitate our guest along with you, Utturi and a memento, sir, to our chief guest, KG Suresh, sir. Give him a round of applause. Now I would like to welcome Professor Debojyoti Chando and Dr. Shamila Clark. Please help us to felicitate. There's only Dean Academics, sir, and Mr. Giri, kindly. Yes. Thank you so much. Well, now is a turn, a person. Now, in academics, we cannot utter this word or cannot utter this word that is a showstopper. No, it's a person who's a wonderful spectator and an orator. On that note, I would like to request our chief guest, Professor Dr. KG Suresh, Vice Chancellor, Makhanlal Chaturvedi, National University of Journalism and Mass Communication, Bhopal. And before handing over the baton, I would must say and share his legacy a little bit. Apart from his an esteemed Vice Chancellor of a reputed institute, Makhanlal Chaturvedi, National University of Journalism and Mass Communication. He is the former Director General of Indian Institute of Mass Communication, founder Dean, School of Modern Media, University of Petroleum and Energy Study, UPSC, Dehradun, a senior journalist, communication strategist, and a recipient of prestigious Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi Award for his outstanding contribution to journalism by Government of India. He also has an extensive experience working with Doordarshan, Asianet Network, PTI. Welcome, sir. We are eagerly want to listen to you and hear your stages, and feel free. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation within a very short point of time. Thank you so much for considering us.
Thank you so much, Navina. I, first of all, would like to, I'm told, I don't know whether this is a blended mode, so I'm sure that Professor Samit Ray, the Honorable Chancellor of Adamas University, Professor Suranjan Das, Vice Chancellor of Adamas University, Professor Radha Tamal Goswami, Pro Vice Chancellor. We also had Professor Novin Das, Pro Vice Chancellor. My friend, Professor Debojyoti Chanda. Another young friend, Professor Akashdeep Muni. I was on his board of studies when he was at the lovely professional university in Punjab. So he has traveled from Punjab to Bengal. So, and we have Professor Abhijit Giri, Director Placement, and Professor Sujoy Bhattacharya, Dean, and esteemed faculty members, research scholars, and dear students. I would be failing in my duty if I don't mention, Dr. Shamila Kayal and
Dr. Novina Chakravarti, she doggedly followed me. I mean, she pursued it like an investigative journalist. And she made really, life impossible for me. She said, you have to come, and I must give her full marks for bringing me here. And Dr. Shaikh Pal, who was there past midnight last night to receive me at the airport. And honestly, after all that, taking that tedious journey, I feel very fresh before you. I'm really happy to be part of this because I'm here in two capacities. Apart from being a chief guest, I'm also here as an academic partner. Makhanlal Chaturvedi University is an academic partner in this conference. Another academic partner is the Global Media Education Council, and I happen to be its president. So I'm here in different capacities today. So I thought that I should come here. I also, of course, always have a special place in my heart for Kolkata, because this is the place of my great-grandparents. My great-grandfather was a renowned artist and guru of Uday Shankar and Ravi Shankar in performing arts. My grandfather was professor of fine arts at the Rabindra Bharati University. So I have very strong links with Kolkata, and it's always a pleasure coming back to the city of my great-grandparents. And coming to this very important conference, I must congratulate the Adamas University for organizing this conference. I've not physically visited this beautiful university earlier. In fact, Professor Novin we came together in the cart, and he was saying that you have been here, because I have been on so many of your platforms earlier. So I'm sure that some people do feel that I've been here earlier, but that was another reason that I've been part of many of your online sessions, particularly during the Corona period when Ujjwalda was here, and I always wanted to visit this beautiful university. So here I am. I don't know whether this was a deliberate or it's a coincidence, but since nobody mentioned about it, I thought that because the younger generation here, do you know the significance of today? Today is Journalism Day, Modern Indian Journalism Day, 29th of January. It was on this day, 244 years back, in 1780, that James Augustus Hickey published the Bengal Gazette or the Calcutta General Advertiser for the first time. So it's a very historic day on which this is being organized. So I'm sure that the organizers must have had it in their plans, but maybe it was not mentioned. Maybe they left it to me to mention this. This city also has of course played a very important role during the freedom struggle, but particularly in the evolution of the Indian press. It was on this day, it was on May 13 in 1826, almost 50 years, 46 years after what Hickey brought out his Bengal Gazette, that the first Hindi newspaper, Udant Martand, was published from this very city, and it was edited by Pandit Jugal Kishore Shukla. To this day, it is celebrated not only as a Hindi Patrakarita Divas, but also as a Narada Jayanti across India. So Kolkata holds a very important place, particularly for students of journalism. We tend to forget history, so we should not forget our very glorious history of media and Kolkata's contribution, Bengal's contribution to Indian journalism. even today in my own university, which is Asia's first and India's largest media university, I would just briefly say a couple of sentences because most of you are new to it. We are based out of Bhopal, and the Chancellor of the university is the Honorable Vice President of India, and we have 5 campuses, 1,600 affiliated colleges, and a student population of over 2 lakhs. And today in journalism, our students are there in almost every media house. Now, we are also establishing a museum or a newseum in memory of Pandit Jugal Kishore Shukla. So that would be our Kolkata link, and our link to Hindi journalism. Journalism, as I said, that many people, we have had a long checkered history of communication in this country. Journalism, of course, started with the publication of the first journal, first newspaper, weekly newspaper, the Bengal Gazette. But communication, a lot of people refer to Devrishi Narad as the first communicator. We have in our history, in our traditions, in our culture, what Sanjaya did in Mahabharata, where it was virtually like a live telecast of what was happening in the Battle of Kurukshetra, the Mahabharat war, where he was like a journalist explaining everything to King Dhritarashtra without any bias or prejudice. He was giving a live commentary on what was happening there. And we have had a tradition, centuries of tradition of dialogue, of inquisitiveness, of questioning. This has been there in our genes for a long time. You talk about the Yaksha Yudhishthira conversation, the dialogue between Yama and Nachiketa, the dialogue between Adi Shankara and Mandana Mishra, the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. It is all asking questions and getting answers. So we have had the centuries, thousands of years of tradition of asking questions, coming with answers. So maybe it was not journalism per se, but the very important aspects of critical thinking and problem solving were always there in our traditions. And we are today at the crossroads. Today, thanks to technology, we are, we have democratized and decentralized media. Of course, it has come with its flip side also, which Professor Naveen was referring to. That the attention spans have reduced from several minutes to a few seconds. And a lot of people under the garb or guise of citizen journalism, I have a problem with that term, because we don't have citizen doctors, we don't have citizen engineers, we don't have citizen architects. Why should we have citizen journalists? They can be citizen communicators, but journalism is a profession where training is required. It's not just about using mobile phones, it's not just about using internet, it's about the Constitution of India, it's about our rights and responsibilities, it's about the right to information, it's about the fundamental rights. So anybody carrying a mobile phone just cannot be a journalist. So we need to talk about these things. I'm glad that the international conference, because I've been told that I have to confine my address because I would be later on participating in a plenary session also. So this is the inaugural session, to keep it to the minimum. So I will just raise just a couple of points before Now, please understand that this conference is looking at various dimensions of media and mass communication. Sustainable Development Goals, and a lot of very important aspects. I want you to understand, particularly I hear a lot of youngsters saying that journalism is dead. I honestly don't agree with this. Then I better close down my university, you better close down your School of Journalism and Communication. I am on the jury of so many prestigious awards, including the Ramnath Goenka Award for Excellence in Journalism by Indian Express. I am in the Ladli Media Awards. And the kind of entries that I see, whether it is in the broadcast category and the print category, it's just awesome. The kind of stories youngsters are doing. So if you're saying that journalism is dead, then you are not reading the right content, you are not watching the right content, then you are not listening to the right content. There is a problem. The problem is at our end, because a lot of good journalism is happening in Bangla, in Marathi, in Malayalam, in Hindi, but we are only reading few papers which are, having their own specific agendas. So it's important that, and particularly the students of journalism, I would like to tell them, please make it a habit to read one language newspaper. Because language journalism is actually grassroots journalism. I'm not at all critiquing or condemning English language journalism. I'm a student of English literature. I cannot do, I did my entire journalism in English only. But I still believe that we are a little elitist. We are not as grassroots as the language media is. So please make it a point, whichever language you come from, whichever linguistic background you come from, please make it a habit to read one language paper, listen to one language podcast or broadcast every day, because you get a lot of stuff there, which is related to the grassroots. I also believe that, I hope that this conference is going to talk about the different dimensions of communication today, the power of how to harness the power of social media, whether it is sustainable development goals or media literacy. I'm glad that you have adopted some villages. Media literacy is the need of the hour. Maybe I'll speak on some other occasion, because I'm passionate about it. I believe that there is a need for a national media literacy mission. And I think that whether it is community radio or community newspapers, they can play a very critical role in taking development journalism forward. And I wish to, I think I've taken more than my, allotted time, but I really hope that the International Conference on Media and Communication, the second edition we are witnessing here, will become a must attend on the international media calendar. It would, given the passion of its organizers and the commitment of the university and the school, I'm sure that in the coming days, this conference will be, people would be looking forward to participating in it. The deliberations here should be documented, brought out in book forms, in the form of research papers, and I'm sure that they would give an Indian perspective also to media and media education across the globe, because so far we have been looking at only the Western concepts of communication. It is high time, given the emphasis of the government under the National Education Policy on Indian knowledge systems, we should give the Indian perspective also to the global audience. On that note, thank you so much for inviting me. It's really an honor and pleasure to be in Kolkata. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for standing beside us in all thick and thin. and definitely I would understand the importance of vernacular language, being born and brought up in a Hindi state and speaking throughout all the time English, not from convent, and coming and working in a state Bengal which is not in our domain. So I understand the power of language and how language can bring into, and especially, and really you are enlightened us, though it was in subconscious of mine, the 29th importance of 29th of January, but we didn't try to mix up with sustainable development goal and journalism, and we took media as a very whole, including each and every journalism, media, and a kind of cinema, to all kind of that journalism that we speak, not only that part of entertainment as well. Thank you so much for your wonderful words, but in that we should have to go a little bit in the past for ICMC1, how we started. I would like to call my co-convener Shaikh Pal, just throw some light on it.
Thank you. It was great to listen to you, sir. And I must say, media and communication is multidisciplinary in nature. So it is actually imbibing other disciplines and other subjects into it. So now coming back to our ICMC 1, I'm glad to share that the ICMC 1 had a conference proceeding, and the name was New Media Landscape in India, Dimensions, Issues, Trends and Future. I would also like to call the editor, another editor, Dr. Sharmila Koyal on the stage. And the most important part was KG Shure sir has written the foreword of this book.
And that's the latest ISBN last year.
Dr. Koyal, please come up on the stage. So this year also, we are going to come up with another version for ICMC 2 with the grace of Sir and with the grace of Almighty.
Thank you. So I would like to call KG sir and three of the editor of ICMC. So hand over the book. Sir, come. Thank you so much, sir. On that note, I would like to call our Dean Academic, Professor Dr. Shushanta Kumar Bondal, to throw some light, as he has a class, so he was constantly reminding me. I cannot forget his contribution, because when we were starting ICMC 1, he was stood behind us like a wall and supported us like anything. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Novina. Our esteemed guest, Professor Suresh, Professor Chanda, and our own Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Goswami, and Dr. Muni on the dais, and of the dais, Professor Sarkar and Professor Navin Das, who has left due to his class assignments, and Professor Sujay Bhattacharya also due to some important meeting, and all the organizers. Since as Nobina just reminded me regarding the last year ICMC 1, they had done everything, they had prepared everything, but at that time what happened? Their leader was left. So they were just thinking how to manage, how to conduct this ICMC, that conference, how to get all the finance, everything. Then I voluntarily took the charge that, okay, don't worry, your leader's dean has left. So as a dean academics, I took the responsibility that your conference will be conducted smoothly, and we did it. And I also pressurized them that once the conference is done, you have to publish it as a conference proceedings. And right now I have seen that things they have done it. And these times also they can do it, because right now we have tie-up with the Springer publications. So, and Springer is a, you can see a big one, and all are the Scopus indexed automatically. All proceeding articles will be there. And specifically for this importance of this conference, as you know, the conference is all the researchers come together and share their knowledge. Specifically, all the students who are the undergraduate students. For postgraduate and the research scholars, it is obviously they will do the research. But right now, under NEP 2020, you might be knowing that this is course, those who are in the first year, they are admitted under 4-year undergraduate program. And the last year, they have the opportunity that they can go for the research, and after getting that 4-year degree honors with research, they can directly go for their PhD work. No need of our undergraduate students. I hope that they will be involved more and more by their teachers to that. Another part of this conference importance also, that as you know that under NEP 2020 also we are emphasizing experiential learning. This will be also as a part of your experiential learning. And in our academics evaluation part, in subject evaluation part, you might be knowing that in our comprehensive and continuous assessment, there is a part of that 20 marks we have assigned for your experiential learning. And this will also be one kind of that things. And I hope that the students, they will get to the updated research topics in which the world is doing the research. And I wish you best, all the organizers and the students, I wish the best for the success of this event. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Without your help and as well as Radha sir's help, this ICMC 1 and 2 would not be possible for us to conduct. I'm sure we will keep on having your blessings and help from the upcoming years for all the conference series that we are going to conduct from the school. Now on the same note, I would request our very special guest, Professor Dr. Debajyoti Chandra, Professor Rabindra Bharati University, to come up to the stage and address the gathering.
Professor K.G. Suresh, Professor Radha Tamal Goswami, my esteemed colleagues in the Department of Mass Communication and Journalism, Dr. Muni, Navina ma'am, Sharmila ma'am, all of you, and my dear students. The moment I entered the university, I could feel the vibe of this conference because, it displayed the kind of meticulous planning that you have made to make this conference a success. I was part of this conference last year also, although in online mode. So I feel very good. Adamas University over the years have grown, and I want to thank the Chancellor Sir and Vice Chancellor Sir for the wonderful infrastructure that they have put up for this university. I'm sure this conference will be, this is the second phase of the conference, and this will be a meeting point. Journalism is a professional subject, and this conference will, over time, will become a very important meeting point for academics and professionals and students who will come together and discuss issues which are coming up. Journalism is a growing and a changing profession. Whenever we talk about journalism and media these days, we talk about technology. The harping of constant theme is technology. But journalism is not about technology. It is not only about AI and all the things that are happening in the world of technology, but it is also a lot to do with people. And therefore, when you have decided to make sustainable development as your focal theme of this conference, I felt good because my PhD research was on self-help groups and development communication, and how communication plays a very important catalytic role in the process of development. Sustainable development goals, when it was set up by when leaders from across the world met at the United Nations and they set up the sustainable development goals, which Shaik was talking about some time ago, a lot of difficulty has come in the way, especially when we have had this COVID pandemic. To reach these goals by 2030 has not been an easy task, and resources are plenty, but how these resources are being shared how sub-Saharan Africa, how large parts of Asia, in the Gulf region also, where there is a lot of richness and there is a lot of resources, still human conflict, other kinds of tragedies, climate change, these are constant challenges which policy planners are facing in enabling us reach these sustainable development goals. And communication plays a very, very important part, a part of a catalyst, a role of a very important stakeholder in this process of development and in reaching this goal. Over the years, journalism as a profession is changing, and our subject discipline is also changing. It has become it was journalism before, then it became journalism and mass communication. Today we are talking about media studies. It is not about only print journalism. We have so many sub-disciplines within this broad subject, and the students have today got the opportunity to pick up a lot of areas, from film to advertising to public relations to very niche areas like political communication or development communication. These are very, very important areas, and research and development in these areas need to be focused upon, and conferences like this, ICMC 2, will definitely help us look into these very important areas where research scholars are delving into. I understand that a lot of very important people who are working in this area will be joining this conference physically and also through online mode. And these 2 days will be very important for all of us, where we will be joining. I'll be chairing a session tomorrow. And I want to personally thank the organizers for calling me over here and meeting all of you. The next 2 days will be very exciting. I thank you once again. Thank you.
Rather officially, we can say that today we are starting the Festival of Academics. Normally, we celebrate festivity just like आज पढ़ा होबे ना, so we are just starting that, कि आज থেকে পড়াশোনা হবে and research হবে. So that kind of festival that we are starting, and media plays a pivotal role in shaping of public opinion and influencing policy decisions. Today we will explore how media can be catalyst for positive changes by amplifying SDGs, promoting awareness and holding stakeholders accountable. And we invite all the media actively and engage in discussion, contribution to the global dialogue and sustainable development.
While we celebrate our success, it is imperative to acknowledge the challenges that still persist. Whether it's addressing climate change, ensuring equality and quality education, or promoting responsible consumption, our journey towards sustainable development is riddled with obstacles. Our speakers today will shed light on these challenges and propose potential solutions.
On that note, we'll start our next plenary session, and on that note, we are ending with that. I would like to welcome my colleague and the very important co-convener, Dr. Sharmila Kayal, to give a concluding note to the inaugural program. Thank you so much.
A very good morning to one and all, respected dignitaries, my dear colleagues, and dear students. It's not a concluding remark to the ICMC 2, rather it's an initiation, introductory part of mine. The very theme of ICMC 2 has been brainstormed with, best of the mind, and we thought that contribution towards sustainable development goals is a key factor to be for any conference, in recent times. So for Adamas University School of Media and Communication, we have initiated to ponder on the various aspects of sustainable development goals. And as KG Suresh sir has, best of he opined that 29th of January is a remarkable day in the history of journalism in India. And sir, that is why we have put 29th and 30th of January 2024. What a to start with this new year, School of Media and Communication thought that it should start with the brainstorm with the intellectuality, the best of the capability to think more and more about the contribution towards sustainable development goals. There are various key themes are there, and there are 46 papers across the country, and out also we have received the paper. 29 institutes, universities, and media academics participated in ICMC 2. There will be 6 technical sessions, and after following open panel discussion. In open panel discussion, there are plenaries, speakers from Pennsylvania State University, American International University of Bangladesh, Gujarat University, Mysore University, and Manipal University, Dubai. And the technical session, there are distinguished, all the session chairs are the respected professors of media and communication study, and session chair were the associate professor, and the moderator were the assistant professor and the media academic. We will all brainstorm, and we shall feel the depth of SDGs research in media and communication, how communication is the key to achieving sustainable development goals. And rightly Novina said that to overcome and to eradicate the barrier or the obstacles which is there for the sustainable development goals. I, along with my co-conveners and my dear faculty members as the organizing committee, I initiate this ICMC 2, and now we are heading towards open panel discussion. Thank you so much. So before we could disperse for the tea break, I would request the dignitaries for a group pic. Bimal sir, please kindly come up on the stage. And dear colleagues of mine, Sanjay da, Bimanda, everyone must be there with us. Pradeep da, please come. Please come up with us for a picture. Lakshmi. And the dear participants who were there with us, through Zoom and the live link of us, which is live streamed in YouTube and Facebook. Thank you so much for being the part of, the media conference, ICMC 2. And please be waited. We are heading towards the most, brainstorm session as an open panel discussion. Dear participants, thank you so much. Be there with us. And thank you. ICMC 2 official partners, academic partners, Makhanlal Chaturvedi, National University of Journalism and Communication, Global Media Education Council, Manipur University as Central University, industry partners SMX Network, Migration Letters, Scopus Index Journals, dear participant, those who are currently in the Zoom link, we are writing a link and the password in the chat box so that you can join. And those who are watching through the live stream, they also can join. So, you follow the Zoom link which is provided in the chat box. Please, do have a look in the chat box so that you will get the link, and the password is written by Swati Agarwal.
Students, please settle down. We will be beginning a new session after this. In 2-3 minutes, we will resume. Please be seated. Do not leave the auditorium, everyone. Volunteers, please make all the students sit in the auditorium. Please tell them not to leave. Students, please don't leave the auditorium. Please don't leave the auditorium. Soel, please ask all the students to settle down. Close the door if needed. Students, please be seated in the auditorium. Just 2-3 minutes and we will start the session.
It's a good university. I was there for 2.5 years as the Pro Vice Chancellor and Dean of Media. A very, very good university. Amrish ji was on my board of studies at the time. Swati has joined. I think Swati is a faculty there. She will go.
Just give us 2 minutes. We are joining.
The last one is going on, the earlier one. Swati?
Yes, sir. Yes. So we are just ending the first session and we will be joining the session.
Please, many of the speakers have joined already. So I would request so that we can start in time.
I am in fact today with my students in FTI. So I have found the room
FTI,
here
okay.
to connect.
हेलो सर।
सुनल जी नमस्ते। सुनल जी
नमस्ते, कैसे हो आप?
बहुत बहुत अच्छा। आपको अच्छा लग रहा है देख के? थोड़ी देर पहले आप आए थे, आके फिर जाके फिर आ
हाँ,
गए।
मैं फिर वापस चली गई। मैंने
हाँ।
देखा कि काफी लोग नहीं आए तो आई
इस वक्त I know.
कैसे हो आप सर?
बस ठीक है। कलकत्ता में their first session is on, which is in-person session. So they're taking a few minutes, 4 more minutes. So we'll wait for them to come back.
Okay, sir. No issue.
Can I ask you, what is the format for this panel?
No, what I'll do is that I will briefly start in 2 minutes of introductory comments and then invite one panelist after the other. So and I would not ask questions in the first round. So I'll request everyone to limit to maybe 6-7 minutes, 5-6 minutes in the first round, and then I will ask one question each to each panelist. Second round, I don't think we'll have time more than two rounds.
Yeah.
If someone puts a question in the chat box, I'll take it up in the second round. So first round, do not take more than 6 minutes max. So that because there are too many people, I think 8 people are there. So 8 6 are 48, 50 minutes will be.
Ujjwal, many people ask me about the recording and the content that they are looking for.
I will just now request the organizers. Yeah, I'm sure they are recording. So someone is there from the Adamas University. I can see on the screen, but not the face.
In the future also, will we be able to share this or not? Or I don't know, because.
Yeah, no, this is good. Our recording should be done. So the person from Adamas University is there. Kindly confirm if this is being recorded. I'm only being given the creative or 2 minutes. They are already written. But is it being recorded is what is asked. Please write in the. It is being recorded. Okay. So do share the recording with the panelists as they have requested. Momita madam has come from the organizers.
Be careful what we say, right?
You don't have to. This is very simple.
So I'm outside, so I'm okay. I'm safe. But I'm thinking of my colleagues in India.
Momita ma'am, kindly note that our panelists have requested the whole panel discussion to be recorded and shared with them as earlier. Fine. Give me a hint when to start. Rahmatullah sir, AIUB, right? Your university?
Yes, sir. Do you hear me? Yes, I am from
Yes, yes,
American
yes,
International
yes. You
University,
are very
Manali.
much audible.
Thank you,
And
sir.
I think your founder was there. I mean, we had shared stage in Dubai 1 year ago in Bangladesh Education Forum.
Yeah, he was there. Last
Yes,
October also he was there.
yes. He was a sponsor there also,
Yeah.
and I shared stage. So I've heard him once. He came with the minister. That
Yeah,
deputy.
our chairman is Istiak Abedin.
Yes,
So
sir.
Istiak Abedin sir was there last year
Right.
as well as this 23 as well.
Swati, we can hear you. Though your mute, it says mute, but we can hear you. Maybe some other area is open. And 11 बजे मैंने चेक किया है, चेक करके वापस चला गया है, फिर 12 बजे ज्वाइन किया. चलो सब आ गए, जब बताओ कब शुरू करना है.
Sir, we expected you offline.
I know I could not do it. Too many things back, आगे पीछे. So, आपका yeah, good morning to everyone there also. We can start now. Acha, there are two panelists. Okay. And Santo? So please
Yeah, good afternoon.
start the recording and tell me when to start, exactly when to start. Okay, fine. Fine. Momita, Swati, anyone tell me when to start?
Sir, we have not
We can
yet
hear
got.
you.
Sir, we have not yet got the queue for starting it. Just wait for 2 minutes more, sir.
Yeah, already it's 12 minutes past 12. 1:30 hard stop. I have a meeting at 1:30. That was the reason I couldn't come personally. So hard stop 1:30. We'll
Sir,
stop anyhow at 1:30.
So I think it will be started soon. Like I'm just waiting for the queue.
Recording in progress.
I believe we can start now. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen who are online and who are in front. It's only my bad luck that I could not be present in person today for this very important program that you are doing, focusing on SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. I have the pleasure to have with me a very power-packed panel, and that's not just a word, it's truly so. 8 scholars from 4 countries. Can you believe that? The only common point, no, we are all South Asian origin. That's the only common point. Otherwise, it's 8 scholars from 4 countries, 4 nations, and some of the leading minds. Let me uh, just in brief give a one or two lines introduction to the theme. We shall focus on role of media in communication and its contribution with respect to sustainable development goals. Last October, I was in Europe, and one of the dominant theme everywhere, 6 countries had gone, Schengen countries largely, not UK, and everywhere the word sustainability and sustainable was from shopping mall to academic institutes to media organizations on the streets in some form. Sustainability, sustainable products and services keep coming. Very interesting to see that at least in Europe, it has caught up in a big way. I do not know about the other nations. Well, we do have someone who has a big experience in Europe. He might throw more light on that. So this whole concept of engaging media in the domain of sustainable development goals to implement, to execute, and see that there is a large-scale awareness about it. So this task was taken up through a very interesting project of the United Nations. The UN came out with SDG Media Compact. So Sustainable Development Goals Media Compact. So it was announced in September 2018. Around 31 media organizations from around the world, majorly from the Western world, they came together and they decided to leverage media talent and resources to amplify the goals so that people know about it more. So they start following it up more, and accelerate the progress towards achieving the goals by 2030. By now, I'm sure because the inaugural session is over, so everyone is aware. Otherwise, also people are aware there are 17 goals and 2030 is the goal. 2030 is the target line within which we have to achieve these 17 sustainable development goals. For that, certain quantitative and qualitative measures have also been proposed. I'm not taking time to get into depth of that. There may be other panels focusing on that. So our focus is how can media help in taking these sustainable development goals to the masses. So this SDG Media Compact was made by the UN in 2018 September, as I told. And gradually, today, you'll be happy to note 402 media organizations from 161 countries are there, almost leading media houses of the whole world. 402 from 161 countries are there. This has become a powerful device, a driver for action, for advocacy. Action means more in the sense of creating awareness, knowledge, telling the stories, the success stories, because stories inspire more than preaching. So this has become a great driver for that. In 2022 and 23, last 2 years, September 3rd week has been even celebrated because it was launched in September 3rd week of 2018. So the 3rd week has been celebrated as Act for SDGs, hashtag ACT Act for SDGs. And all these media organizations, 400 plus today, they carried several special stories focusing on sustainability, how much it has progressed, what needs to be done next, and all that. So we all know about the transformative power of media, particularly in sustainability. How are the organizations really impacting? How is social media impacting? What are the experiences in various countries, the 4 countries that are being represented here? And what more suggestions are there for media? These are the things that my very esteemed panelists would be focusing on, hopefully. It's my pleasure that I have been asked to moderate by the university where I spent a beautiful 2.5 years as the Pro Vice Chancellor. I stayed on campus. So I've been asked to moderate this session. I'm very thankful to them, thankful to the department there. And I would begin with,
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I would like to introduce all the speakers to the audience because we have a number of audience in the Zoom session also.
So I would therefore, before I I was going to call Dr. Dayathusu, but before I call the speakers, I would request the organizers to have short introduction for all. Please note 1:30 is our hard time, hard stop, and we started 12 minutes late. Give brief introduction to all the speakers on behalf of the organizers.
Sure,
Back
sir.
to you, Swati.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Ms. Swati Agarwal, Assistant Professor in the School of Media and Communication, Adamas University. I welcome you all to the plenary discussion in the International Conference on Media and Communication. This conference has been organized by Adamas University in collaboration with Makhanlal Chaturvedi University, Manipur University, DME, Noida, American International University of Bangladesh, HSC University, Moscow, Russia, and the EduGraph. In our interconnected world, the power of media is unparalleled, serving as a catalyst for creating awareness, understanding, and collective action. I'm deeply honored to introduce the doyens of media education who would address the crucial topic of media and communication in the pursuit of sustainable development goals. First, I would like to introduce Professor Usha Rani. Professor Usha Rani is presently a member of Karnataka Higher Education Council, Government of Karnataka, Bangalore. She is a former professor and Dean of Faculty of Arts and an ICSSR Senior Fellow in the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication in the University of Mysore. A winner of American Fulbright Fellowship twice and ICSSR International Fellowship, she was also awarded 2 national awards for Best Educational Documentaries. Dr. Amrish Saxena is a professor and dean in the School of Delhi Metropolitan Education, DME, Noida. Dr. ABM Rahmatullah, sir, is the additional director, IQAC, and former associate dean, American International University, Bangladesh. Professor Dayat Husu is a professor of international communication at School of Communication, Hong Kong Baptist University. Professor Sonal Pandya is a professor and head of the Department of Communication and Journalism, Central University of Gujarat. Dr. Pooja Mahesh is currently working as an associate professor at the School of Media and Communication, Manipal Academy of Higher Education. Now, I would introduce you to our moderator of today's session, Professor Ujjwal Kumar Chaudhary, sir. Professor Ujjwal Kumar Chaudhary, sir, is a noted academic and public speaker and writer. He is also the Vice President of Global Media Education Council. Formerly, sir was the strategic advisor of Daffodil University, Bangladesh. He has been the Pro-Vice Chancellor of Adamas University. He was the Dean of School of Media and Communication at Adamas University, Pearl Academy, Amity University, Whistling Woods International. Apart from this, he has a varied experience of working in the media industry. So, sir, I would now request, sir, to kindly grace the occasion and initiate the session.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Swati. And thank you for finishing it fast. Mine one could be shorter. But anyway, we get into the topic. I've already introduced the topic and a bit on the theme, how UN has taken up through the SDG Media Compact, engaging 402 media organizations across the world, from across 161 countries. But I'm sure every nation separately and various media organizations in every nation and state of India are taking independent steps. And as academics, there can be more ideas that we can work on. September usually is the month of review of the media action with respect to SDG. Without taking any more second even, I will invite Dr. Dayat Husu. I have known him from Westminster from UK. Today he is in Hong Kong. He has already been introduced earlier. He is now with Hong Kong, in Hong Kong with a, let me see the university name also. But, sir will himself introduce, but the details and all that. But what is significant is that we are waiting to, let me share this. We are waiting to see sir as the first president of IMCR from the South Asian origin. That would be great to see in near future. So over to you, Daya sir, for discussing this from your experience of working in Europe and working in Asia. How do you look at the media's role with respect to SDGs? Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Also for plugging my IMCR candidature. That if I was elected, that'll be first time there's anybody from non-Western world who gets to be elected to that position. So that'll be first for many reasons. I wanted to actually sort of make some general comments, and I'll go specifically about the SDGs, because there is a kind of normative view of how media should behave or how politics should behave, and then there is a realistic view of what it is like, what the real situation is on the ground. So Professor Chaudhary talked about Europe and how much sustainability has become a kind of buzzword in certainly in Western Europe and specifically in Germany. But if you look at recent years, like last 2 years, given the Ukraine situation and the energy situation in Germany, they have been importing liquefied gas from United States at 3 times, 4 times cost of what they were getting from Russia. And this gas is actually awfully bad for the environment. And this is a country which goes around the world, lectures people about how to be sustainable. And the ultimate joke is that this government, in current government in Germany, the foreign minister is from the Green Party. So that's why I said there's a normative view and then there's a realistic view. So I think we have to be very careful as academics to be able to see the gap that exists between what ought to be and what is. I fully endorse the idea that media and communications have a very important role in not only highlighting the importance of sustainability, especially in the global south, where it is it's an existential issue. And I'm very grateful that the university, not just in Calcutta, but other institutions which are involved in this conference are highlighting this. This is a crucial point. And I would have loved to be there in person to actually interact with people and see what the level of discussion is, because the outline which was sent to me with different categories of how media could actually influence, for example, awareness, monitoring, policy impact, sustainable practices, partnerships, local dimensions, dealing with misinformation, etc., all extremely crucial and very relevant areas of research. But when you actually look at the existing media structures, not just in South Asia, but more broadly globally, and then you realize that actually there is quite a gap between what ought to be and what is. So, for example, awareness. I mean, you just have to watch television news in India, the prime time news, and see what kind of awareness is being created, not about just the environmental sustainability, but about general issues, the general issues which affect the country or the world. And similarly, the whole idea that there is this press, which is, a monitoring organization whose job is to actually, be accountable to powers to be, and that's been damaged across the world. So I think it is very important to emphasize that rather than idealizing this as something which actually is sometimes, people like us who are studying media or work for the media, we tend to have a very sort of exaggerated view of its influence. And I think it's important to kind of bring it a notch, down to simply what is actually happening on the ground. Now, I'll just make a few comments about that, what is happening across the world, not just in South Asia, and why sustainability and developmental discourse has really got not only marginalized, but almost is off the agenda, especially in the mainstream media. One of the major sustainable goal of the United Nations is that, we should have sustainable consumption. You only have to, I live in Hong Kong, which is probably the most consumerist society in the world. But if you look around the world in general, you will see the consumption is actually growing to the extent that it's not sustainable. And if you again think of the media, the mainstream media, and think of what actually sustains it, it is not the price you pay for a newspaper or subscription you pay for a television channel. It's advertising. And what are they advertising? They're advertising us to consume things that we don't need. So then the following question is, the related question is, what happens when most, if not all, most people are driving their own cars in a country like China or India, and we're talking about 3 billion people. Where are the resources to make that happen? And how many more Iraqs we will need to invent and invade to make sure that there's a regular supply of energy? So, if you look at that kind of a context, then you realize that this normative idea of that, the sustainability is crucial. Nobody's denying that. But our policies and our structures, the media, almost around the world, are going in the reverse direction. And as more and more people join this race to be a better consumer, I feel very skeptical that it's going to do anything much to make a difference on the ground. The final point I'll make, because I know the time is limited, is that the UN itself is a problematic institution, as we all know. Professor Chaudhary mentioned how many countries are involved, how many media organizations are involved. He also mentioned most of them are Western organizations. And then you have to ask, why are they interested in sustainability? Right? There must be, at the same time, they're producing this whole, just look at the difference between Ukraine and Gaza. Right? They talk about one of the sustainable goal is peace in the world. And just look at the contrast between two cases. In one case, the former case, the victims are heroes. In the second case, the victims are villains. And we've just seen, actually, this week, that the UN body, which is supposed to help Palestinians, Western governments have cut their aid for it, suspended the aid, at least for the moment. So when you talk about peace, justice, so one has to take that into account. I think which finally leads to the question of who has that power and how that power is exercised. And I think it's absolutely crucial for especially the developing countries, for Global South, to raise those questions, that to go beyond the kind of cosmetic view of what sustainability is and look at what is actually happening on the ground. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very pertinent question. What ought to be done versus what is being done? And very rightly said that while the sounds and the noise made on sustainability by and large is right, but the practice on ground, and taking example of the geopolitics of today and the two wars going on, and how the world media, the world in general, look differently at the victims of the two wars just now going on between Ukraine and Russia and Palestine and Israel. He has really brought to light the duplicacy or duplicity that we have in this particular scenario, how the governments and people look at reality and what they advocate otherwise. So indeed, there is a big dichotomy there. Having said that, certain Indian media also have been doing reasonably good job in bringing this to the notice of people. For example, one quick example that comes to my mind is NDTV's repeated telethons on climate change and pollution, air pollution, has been quite a success story in India, though for the last 1 year they haven't done earlier. If after pandemic the world comes, the global community and the nations do not rise up to the situation, it's really foolhardy. Going ahead, I have our guest from Bangladesh, Dr. Rahmatullah. Dr. Rahmatullah is very well known to the Adamas community because they have a very good understanding on academics and other issues, MOU and exchange programs. There he had visited, if I'm not wrong, he has visited Calcutta and the university campus sometime earlier. He comes from American International University, Bangladesh. And I had the pleasure of and the good fortune of meeting the founder back 1 year ago in Dubai in a common program. We were on the same panel. So it's great to have Dr. Rahmatullah. Bangladesh is for those in Bengal, because largely the audience will be, I presume, will be Bengali speaking. Those in Bengal, we have tie of heart, language, culture, cuisine, music, everything with Bangladesh. And the 2 years I spent in Bangladesh was extraordinary. The amount of hospitality the people do is fabulous. With respect to media also, it has grown a lot. But I won't get into that. Let Dr. Rahmatullah introduce us to how the media is looking at SDGs with special reference to Bangladesh. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Good afternoon. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity and for your introduction. Yes, I was in Adamas University. That was in September last year. I still have very warm memories. Dear moderator, distinguished panelists, respected participants, my warm regards to you all. And I would like to congratulate the School of Media and Communication of Adamas University for this international conference. And I wish all the success of this conference and hope that outcome of this conference will be very fruitful and productive. I thank the organizing committee for including me in this panel. As sir, you were saying about, we all know the theme of this conference and the theme of this panel discussion. Let me look at few issues that what is the role of media to attain SDGs. The media has a crucial role in achieving SDGs by serving as a catalyst for accountability, advocacy, and awareness. And the media is an important tool for information dissemination, public education, and instilling a sense of urgency about global issues. So we all know that if the media, like holding corporations, communities, and government responsible for their deeds and advancement toward the SDGs, that will be very vital function for the media. And through giving voices to underrepresented groups and illuminating the achievements and obstacles, the media can impact policy choices and promote the expected behavior among all the stakeholders. So if we look at the contribution of media and communication for achieving SDGs, these SDGs are greatly advanced by media and communication because they promote cooperation, global awareness, and the influence of policies. And the communication platforms have the ability to impact policy making as well. So making sure that the decision makers are educated in line with SDGs. So communication and the media are very essential resources for the global effort to achieve the SDGs. And how does research on media and communication that helps to attain the SDGs? If we look at this, the research on communication and the media is very essential to achieving the SDGs. And it facilitates the creation of focused communication strategy by illuminating the influence of media messages on the public awareness and the behavior. A sense of shared responsibility is fostered by the efficient dissemination of information and the SDGs through a variety of media platforms. And if we look at the recent trends, the recent trend shows that the research on media and communication is changing with emerging trends. Like social media analytics is becoming more and more important as it examines how user-generated materials affect the public opinion. Then immersion storytelling is changing as a result of the popularity of virtual and augmented reality, which is also changing how viewers interact with the content. The merging of media and technology is encouraging the multidisciplinary research. The academics are investigating how the digital transformation of this traditional media, which may affect the journalism, advertising, and the audience behavior. There are some challenges. If I look at the challenges for the media and communication research to attain SDGs, what we see, the quickly changing the digital landscape, which presents the problems for media and the communication study. And for accurate reporting is threatened by the spread of false information, as very nicely the example given by our earlier panelist, that about the example of Ukraine and Gaza. Like the false information, the spread that the researchers must negotiate the challenges of identifying the truth. As the communication technology develop, the privacy concerns and the ethical considerations are also becoming very pressing. So the media world is always changing, which makes it difficult to create long-term frameworks for research because they require ongoing change. And how we can overcome the barriers of this, the problem that we have just discussed, the challenges. The interdisciplinary cooperation is essential to overcoming the obstacles in the media and communication research and adopting the technological innovations that enables the academics to address the issues like disinformation and adjust to changing the communication environments. If you look at further, the developing international collaborations that will help to bridge the gaps in the global access by promoting cross-cultural insights. And the ethical issues that also we cannot overlook. The researchers in the field of media and communication, they will also uphold the strict ethical standards to prevent the unfavorable results and retaining the transparency in research method, the data collection, analysis that guarantees the validity of the results, and it will help to reduce the biasness. So the media and communication research that can preserve the integrity of their work and that can make a constructive contribution to our growth of knowledge and help us to attain the SDGs. If we look at the media and communication research that contributes towards SDG, the advancement of the Sustainable Development Goals is greatly aided by the media and communication research, which raise awareness, which promote discussion and shapes the policy. So the scholars contribute to the inclusive communication strategies by revealing the socio-cultural differences that influence the media consumption and ensuring that no one is left behind in the pursuit of the SDGs. So let me conclude. Like to sum up, we can say that the SDG offer a thorough and ambitious plan of action for tackling the most important issues facing the planet, and reaching these objectives, it needs the teamwork, cooperation, and dedication to leaving no one behind. And this media and communication, through media and communication research, we are hopeful that we can positively attain the goal by 2030. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. You brought a new perspective completely. Media research process and how they are changing, particularly, and how they are influencing the public opinion on SDGs. Very categorically, Dr. Rahmatullah noted that the role of social media and immersive media have reason that traditional media's impact on public opinion has gone down. And the social media, while a mass content, people generated content is there, influencing the public opinion, much of that also has false content, what we call as fake news, because if it is fake, it cannot be news. If it is news, it cannot be fake. So I would rather call it false content. He has drawn our attention very correctly to this disinformation spate that's going on currently. And he has also talked about reducing media bias and creating research of media interdisciplinary, because with the technology convergence with media, we have immersive media coming up, VR and AR, augmented reality and virtual reality have created situations when you cannot actually differentiate between truth and falsehood. And there are positive sides also, that you can visualize things which you cannot see in front of you. You can actually visualize that as well. So there is something called deep fake has come in a big way. I've been seeing so many videos on deep fake, particularly with political content. So these areas require a lot of attention today, and hence I would coin the word, I mean, it's already known to everyone that we need a strong sense of media literacy to really fight this menace of disinformation. Without taking any more time, I just uttered the word media literacy, and someone who is very strong on working on media literacy, I would call him next, Dr. Ambrish Saxena, who has been with several Delhi-based educational institutes, but currently the dean of a four-ranking College of Management, Law and Media Learning, and it's called DME Academy under Indraprastha University. And interestingly, he has made a great use of the pandemic period to create an international film festival an international conference, academic conference, both online, and a record of sorts by taking the international conference across two countries and 4 cities. That's very rare by a college to have done that. He is also the secretary of Global Media Education Council. We just had a get together in Delhi also on that. So I request Dr. Amrish Saxena to throw light on this area. And I have learned a lot from him on media literacy. Maybe let's share more on that. Over to you, Dr. Saxena.
Thank you, Professor Chaudhary. Definitely nobody would disagree the whole concept about sustainability and sustainability and sustainable development concept is not new, but since the time the United Nations has endorsed it in a big way, then in most of the academic institutions and elsewhere, people have gradually started the understanding that how much this sustainable development is vital for our lives. In media courses across Indian University, the development communication papers used to be there, then more emphasis now has been put on sustainable development. Very recently, I attended a conference which was on sustainable development only, and that was organized by an NGO that also puts forth the point that the non-governmental organizations are also concerned that this is an area wherein more and more debate, more and more understanding has to be developed. But certain things I would like to point out here. I will agree with whatever was said by Professor there. And earlier also I have been emphasizing on this aspect that on one hand, the United Nations has propagated all these sustainable goals and expect that there is more awareness on these issues. On the other hand, the same organization is sitting idle and letting two wars happen at the same time. So this is completely paradoxical. Both the things cannot happen at the same time. Either you endorse sustainable development, then you have to stop wars. Now, the war is something which finally undone all those efforts which have been happening, which are being undertaken, and which will happen in future as far as sustainable development is concerned. And any war will take the world at least what I believe, at least 100 years backward. Now, what is the role of media and communication in this situation? Now, talking about media, when I say media, I mean, I'm referring to mainstream media and also the digital space. The mainstream media uh, has miserably failed, particularly the television. There may be some few examples, as Professor Chaudhary was pointing out, the role of the NDTV, maybe one channel, maybe one or two newspapers. But if you take the mainstream media as a whole, whether India or I believe whatever I read and I have found on the digital space, the media, the way that these things are being covered, the war and the related things. There is, I mean, no emphasis on the development aspect, and the world is divided. The media is divided whether to support the cause of Palestine and denounce the war, or to support the cause of the Israel, since they are being portrayed as victims. But overall, I find, and in particular in the Indian context, Indian media, at least 70, 80%, 90% of the media is standing by the side of Israel. And why so? Because our government has supported the Israeli cause. Now, in such a situation, in media, we all understand that during the British period, the media was more or less was anti-establishment, but after that, that did not remain the same, and particularly during surrender to the political dispensation. In such a situation, if the government says that this site is right, I mean, the Israel is to be supported, then entire media is supporting Israel, or earlier the things were the other way around. But my question here is, whether media is doing something on this issue as far as development is concerned, whether media is taking its own stand, and whether media is creating some such service to the people wherein it was trying or it is trying to create an understanding among the people that if development is to be carried forward, not only in India but the entire globe, then obviously we have to do certain such actions that the pressure is built to finish the war. The same is the case with the Ukraine and the Russian war. We have to be very, very clear. If we look at the West, the kind of disservice that they are doing to the world and to the cause of development, that they are supporting one war and they are criticizing the other war. This kind of attitude will not work. Media's role is to expose this and to tell the people what the political leaders in different countries are doing. Now, talking about communication or the academic part or the research part, I don't knowledge is limited to whatever things are happening, I'm exposed to, I'm saying this on that behalf. But then uh, the kind of momentum should have been created by the media institutions. That has not happened. At least I have not seen in any Indian university that somebody is denouncing the war and somebody is supporting the cause of development. It is a welcome thing that this topic has been chosen for this panel of Adamas University conference. But I believe more is to be done, more research, more academic orientations, more seminars, more workshops, and some kind of sensitization should be done by us, by all the teachers, irrespective where we are working, among the students. I myself have taken 2 sessions on this issue with my students in my institute, but more sensitization, more awareness has to be created that if world has to be taken forward, if development cause has to be supported, then we have to see to this that peace remains. Without peace, no development, no sustainable development, and nothing will happen, nothing will go. I
Thank you.
finish with words here.
Thank you. Thank you. You have focused more on the war and its negative impact on sustainability, which we are all aware of. And though I will dispute a bit if 90% of India is supporting Israel, I'm not very sure of that. But nevertheless, the argument is very clear that much more needs to be done. Wars completely need to be avoided. Diplomacy is the only way out. And sustainability as a cause must go to every campus. And that must be seen not only in seminars and webinars, which are very important, but also in the way the campus runs, how waste is managed, how green is the campus, how much of sunlight use is being done and how much of electricity, how renewable energy is produced on the campus. There are several examples, and Green New Metric ranking of universities in the world talks about sustainability ranking of universities, which is a fabulous thing. Now I find that even QS ranking has started a sustainability component of university ranking. These are important things because when world takes note of your sustainability practices, the universities also get more encouraged to do that. Going ahead, I will invite Dr. Sonal Pandya will have the first lady voice in this panel. And I'm very happy that this is not a manel, but a panel. This is not just of men. That would have been totally wrong. And I thank and congratulate the university organizers, the program organizers to have done a justice with a very good, well-rounded panel. So Dr. Sonal Pandya, a very strong voice of communication from India and particularly from Gujarat. Sorry. Calcutta has been very cold this time, by the way. It's some days it's as cold as Delhi. So we'll have Dr. Sonal Pandya, who heads Media and Communication, Gujarat University, a very well-known researcher, very well-known speaker in various conferences. She will share her perspectives. Dr. Sonal Pandya.
Respected Ujjwal Chaudhary sir and respected panelists, I think I'll not give a much background. I'll come on my point directly because we all are agree for the importance and significance of this conference. Long back, I did my PhD on environmental communication, and my major finding was that basically environment is not an issue. The imbalances in ecosystem is an issue. So it is a issue of a pure science. When it leads to the problem of imbalance, which is affecting the life of people, then it is the subject of a social science. And while media is giving coverage to this issue, it's a question of the language sciences. So those who want to practice the media and communication, I think he and she should be having a knowledge and comfort zone in sciences, social sciences, and language sciences as well. So think apart that as environment, we all are agree that the consciousness about the environment, which we can see in the conferences and papers, we are not able to see into the action. And professor from Singapore also mentioned about the UN goal of a sustainable development. When I visited the Europe, that I have seen that continuously people were talking about the sustainable practices and how company can be manufactured and so on. That time I also mentioned that the Gandhian value, that when we talk about the from the India, not merely the India, when we talk about the different model of a development, it is a universal model that he advocated, that live simply though other may simply live. While we are talking about the resource crisis, we all feel that we always go for the environment friendly practices, but what about our consumption pattern? And that's why I would like to emphasize, Ujjwal sir, that the priority issues of the developing nations are completely different as of now. Because from 1972, the Stockholm Conference and Lady Brundtland Commission reports that our common future, the sustainable world, has came, and conceptually we realize that it is not just the protecting the environment, it is a social, it is the question of the executions and all. So while we talk about, otherwise the whole world is doing that. During the conference, I think Bill Clinton said that American lifestyle is not negotiable. Let us discuss the rest of the things. So you sustain and we develop. So that is not the sustainable development. It is an inclusive process, and undoubtedly media has to play the very important role. I'm not saying that Media and Media Education Institute, because since last 3 years we are teaching the SDG goal and media paper, especially core paper in my university. And I definitely feel that it gives the holistic perspective to the student while they have gone through the 70 important parameters of SDG goal. The question is what we supposed to do. First of all, we all are now not in living with the information poor and information rich. We are living with the content, and a lot of content from the various channels of a social media. I think we are living in the credibility crisis, not the content crisis. So the role of academic institution is how and what are the parameters to decide the credibility as far as the environmental issues are concerned. Because we all know that mainstream media is not just a part and parcel of the corporate, but it itself is a corporate. So they have to consider the corporate interest, political interest may be always there. You can see that still in a country like India, the migration is a big issue. Environmental refugees are a big issue. These issues are highly highlighted in a main page or the primetime news in television as well. So while we talk about the media, I think a content crisis is not there, but the credibility crisis is very much there. My very second and brief issue is simplification of a data. Because Dr. Chaudhary has introduced me as a female candidate or the gender balance. You know, the Gujarat state is economically wealthy, but we are lag behind in the social development parameters, and adverse sex ratio is one of the major reasons. So when we discuss the sex ratio issue with the highest adverse sex ratio district, they were not able to understand what is the sex ratio and why it is adverse. One of the gentlemen from the local community, he said that your boy will not get the girl to marry. So he was not, the local people understood immediately. And I realized that the role of media education as well, that if we want to create the users friendly information, we have to simplify the data as well. And that is another role that we have to play. And third very important thing, because people already talked about the research ethics, so I'm not touching those issues, but the behavioral, social and behavioral change communication. I think we all have to agree that for framing the policy and policy execution, we badly require the social and behavioral change communication, because we all know, but while it practice the environment friendly practices, you have to consider that why people are not practicing those things. From example of the lifestyle of energy consuming or the plastic use. So behavioral, social and behavioral change communication, we have to focus more on those issues. Uh, Looking at the mainstream media, I think we can definitely think for the hyper local journalism as well, because when we talk about the monopoly of the media, and media monopoly is a big challenge. We have a lot of choices for the expression after social media revolution, but even though we are not completely independent for the information sources itself, I think when we talk about the knowledge society, we must have an independent knowledge society as well. And hyper local journalism and hyper local media is one of the answers, and we need to do the more research on that area. So not going into the detail of the other topic,
Madam.
because taking the time of other candidates.
Yes. Kindly close it now. Yeah.
When we talk about the digital and digital platform, I think we generally talk about what is possible to the media. We can do this, we can see the forest of Brazil, and we can go to the wildlife of Tanzania, and we can go to the Narmada river, whatever. What is possible, it is, we all know that technology created the miracle, but what is desirable, and I think for the country like India, environment is not just a discussion topic in the conference, it's a survival lifestyle of all. So in that context, I think media is having the significant role, and I suggested few suggestions in my time. I think we'll meet some in other platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very important points you have picked up. Imbalance in the ecosystem, socio-economical ecosystem, leads to challenges in ecology. So ecology is not an independent thing by itself. It's a function there. The Gandhian value of simple lifestyle, which is much more sustainable. Undoubtedly, India gave that model, but many Indians themselves have not been following that up now. You sustain, we develop is a wrong approach. Yes, the Western world often has been talking about to the developing world that you sustain, you take the steps more. But let's develop, focus on that. Can't be done. But on the other hand, we cannot follow the Western model of development of indiscriminate use of the resources. That also has to be looked at. Even within our country also, there are different classes of one which consumes heavily and expects the larger masses to contribute to sustainability. Credibility crisis in media, not merely the content of the not merely the content number or quantum, but the credibility of the content. Major issue. This was also picked up earlier by Dr. Rahmatullah when he was speaking about fake disinformation. That part was there. Very rightly pointed, data journalism is a major issue today. How do you simplify data and make them understandable to the common masses? So masses go on emotions more. How do you really bring data which is acceptable in this whole scenario of emotion-driven mindset? Hyperlocal journalism and what is possible and desirable, the contest between them. These two are also good ideas. Hyperlocal journalism, due to the rise of social media, due to the rise of the internet, we are now seeing hyperlocal journalism happening in cities, in villages, their own media platforms, which also has a dedicated viewership, readership, or listenership. That's very interesting to see. There will always be conflict between what is possible and what is desirable. Indeed, Desirability is the question of ethics. Possibility is the question of resources, and there will be a conflict between the two. We move to the next panelist from Dubai, distant Dubai. We're staying in Middle East for a very long time. We have Pooja Madam here. Can I request her to Dr. Pooja Mahesh from what do you call this Mahe, Manipal Academy of Higher Education, Manipal University, Dubai campus. I had the pleasure of listening to her a couple of times earlier also online, and we hope that sometime face to face also we'll meet and talk. That would be very interesting. So over to Dr. Pooja Mahesh from Dubai.
Thank you, sir. Today I'm really honored to speak about the subject that's both vital and inspiring. And I would first of all begin with the UAE's approach to sustainable development goals. And in terms of UAE, if we talk about its commitment to sustainability, innovation, and global partnership, it has taken a major role. And if we see in the very fabric of its policy, it has embedded the sustainable development goals. And being here for over 8 years now, I have seen some of these bold steps which have been taken by UAE in this area. So one being reducing the dependence on the fossil fuel, which is there, and they have been investing in the large-scale renewable energy project, which is Maktoum bin Rashid Al Maktoum Solar Project, Solar Park. Then in terms of education, they are integrating innovative and technological progresses in the sector of education. In terms of COVID, we saw the healthcare facilities that the government has engaged in and how they handled the crisis. Then in terms of the gender balance, in the council itself, we see how the gender balance is maintained and slowly and gradually it is being propagated in the mainstream as well. In terms of economical structure, if we see, there is a lot of diversification which is happening, and over the years, I have seen it actually growing in the region. So that's another step which they are taking, which they have taken. And then their investment in the sustainable urban development. So in terms of the sustainable projects, if we see, they have come up with a sustainable city itself. Now, besides UAE, I would also like to emphasize on the role that media is taking in terms of the sustainable development goal and the emphasis, taking the cue from Dr. Ambrish Saxena mentioned and a few other panelists did mention. So the media research has been done, and in this area, I really like the paper done by Simon Cottle on this, framing disaster, the commodification of suffering in the digital age. And I think it's very topical, like how the disaster is being framed, particularly while we have talked about the Israel-Palestine issue. So media has a major role when it is covering the humanitarian crisis, because it impacts how the policy decisions are taken by the government, by the international organizations that are aiding those countries, by the other governments who are supporting or not supporting a particular region. So these are the major concerns which are there, which should be looked up. Besides that, what I feel is that in terms of bridging the gap, whether it is in terms of education, in terms of education, healthcare, emphasis should be there on participatory development communication. So that will create a major transformation in terms of whatever sustainable development goals are being taken. And emphasis should be also on the community media, a lot of work which is being done in the developing nations, particularly in this sector. So with this, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for pointing out certain specific Middle Eastern examples, policies, particularly with respect to UAE, and also bringing home once again the issue of the war and its impact on the negative impact on sustainability. Particularly your points on what UAE government is taking as sustainable development goals and how is it being reflected in the society there are very significant contribution to this discussion and discourse. I have now an stalwarts coming here. Stalwart as a speaker. I know he's in person there. He has already spoken in the inaugural session, but I wanted the people online to speak first and sir to take up now. Interestingly, Professor K.G. Suresh, a very close friend and a mentor to thousands of youngsters today. His university has more than 1 lakh students studying media communication and information technology. Extraordinary effort that goes on in Makhanlal Chaturvedi, Asia's largest university in media and communication. He has been also the, as we all know, perhaps that the Director General of IIMC Delhi, Government of India's own initiative in media education, media and communication education. So Professor K.G. Suresh, the Vice Chancellor of Makhanlal Chaturvedi University, and also the President of Global Media Education Council and the Speaker of the inaugural session of this program earlier today, would now speak, and he'll speak in person there. He's present there at the venue. Over to you, Suresh sir.
Friends, and I believe that the digital age has finally arrived because being physically present, you are the odd one out. Most of the most of the people are online, and I also see most of the students who are present here also they are online. They are all looking at their mobile phones. I hope they are looking at the YouTube channel only very closely. And I think that, before I come, I just needed to, because I represent a government institution, just a clarification in terms of Israeli cause. India is committed to the Palestinian cause. And the only thing is that India is opposed to terrorism, and that to cross-border terrorism, which was witnessed in the case of the Hamas attack on, it was not a non-state actor perpetrating violence on another state. So I thought that, and India was among the first countries to rush relief to the Palestinians, and it continues to, but supporting, it cannot support cross-border terrorism, because we ourselves are victims. Because if we support Hamas, then what can we talk about Lashkar-e-Taiba and Hizbul Mujahideen and the likes? Anyways, coming to the second part, the Sustainable Development Goals that you're talking about, I believe that it's very important that media, talks about these issues. Unfortunately, at the global level, we have been at the GMAC also, we have been calling for a new information order, a global information order, which talks about the requirements and the priorities of the developing world, of the developing South, as against being the voice of the developed countries. One of the major reasons for this is that the transnational media houses, are still owned and operated by Western countries. India, countries like India, despite its, a lot of achievements in technology and other domain, we are yet to have our own global platform where we can showcase our concerns, our aspirations. So it is important that developing nations also develop their own communication networks, global communication networks, which should disseminate their point of view, their perspective to the rest of the world. Otherwise, the Western narrative continues to dominate. That's number one. Number two, I believe that, as has been mentioned by all the my previous distinguished speakers, we need to now talk about community media in a big way, because we have been having a lot of expectation from the so-called mainstream media, which is mostly urban-centric. As against this, it is important that we support community media, as is the case in many countries of even the West, which includes community radio, community newspapers. A couple of initiatives have been taken in India also, like Gaon Connection, Khabar Lahariya, and about over 200 community radio stations which are reaching out to, but that's a drop in the ocean. It's very important that media gets into the IEC model, that's information, education, and communication, as against the entertainment model that we are currently obsessed with. I believe that the Indian media particularly is obsessed with politics. Governance is important, politics is just a part of it, but we are obsessed with politics, whereas we should be talking about governance. We need to understand the distinction between the two, and we are talking about good governance that plays a critical role in promoting sustain. A lot of good work is being done at the grassroots level by a lot of organizations and many individuals, but are these stories being told? I believe that the mainstream media doesn't consider it important enough to showcase these stories. Not that these stories are not there. I'm on the panel of so many prestigious juries, including the Ramnath Goenka Award for Excellence in Journalism, and I see some wonderful stories, investigative stories related to pollution, related to corruption, related to deforestation, related to environment being done both in alternative media, that means digital media in a big way, and also in language media. I believe that there should be a platform which should translate and bring to all the readers the excellent stories that are being done in the language media. Unfortunately, when we talk about mainstream media, we generally talk about the English media, whose numbers are certainly not growing, and which is confined to an elite segment of the society. Whereas if we want to make sustainable development part of our lives, it is important that the language media takes it to the grassroots. A lot of good work is being done, but that's not good enough. We need to promote sustainable development goals through the language media, which is growing, manifold. Its readership is growing, its viewership is growing, so we need to tap on that. We also need to harness the power of the social media in a big way. We have a lot of digital, content creators, a lot of mobile journalists. Mojo has become the in thing today across the country, even in small districts and villages. But what is lacking is quality content. We need to train, upskill the journalists and communicators at the grassroots level, not only in terms of technology, and that is where my main issue is, because a lot of media education has now become technocentric. The content has to be the focus. Content is the king, content will always be the king and the queen and the prince and the princess. So it's very important that we give a lot of emphasis on content creation. Quality content creation has to be the focus rather than technology, because if content is there, then certainly it can create very powerful messages which can change, bring about change in mindsets, change in attitude, people's attitude. Government action is certainly important, but for very important missions like Swachh Bharat to become successful, it is pertinent that they become people's movement. And I can say, and that's the last point I would like to say, in my own state of Madhya Pradesh, Indore is the cleanest city in the country, and my city, Bhopal, is the cleanest capital city of the country. If this has not happened only because of the government's active involvement of the citizens, that has led to this kind of a success. So despite Madhya Pradesh being a developing state only, it is not a very developed state, it is on way, but this has happened because of the awareness created by the media. I'm sure that this can serve as a model in other aspects of life too, in promoting SDGs in the country. So media can play a critical role. On that note, I thank you, Ujwalda, for inviting me to address this august audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. The invitation was from Adamas University. I'm just moderating. Thank you very much. Very pertinent. I will just quickly, for the sake of the audience, mention 2 or 3 key points that Professor Suresh has highlighted. NICO, New International Information and Communication Order. NICO is required because what we know as truth is what the Western media has been largely peddling and what other media, non-Western media, have repeated. So NICO, this idea is a strong idea. It's not that it's come up just now, but it has not been realized yet. And the Western narratives keep dominating. Second, community media. Dr. Pandya has spoken about hyper-local journalism. On the same lines, community media and very good examples, Gaon Connection. My dear students who are there, please look up on the internet about Gaon Connection and Khabar Lahariya. It is very important that you see that how media initiatives at the grassroots are coming up, sustaining both in revenue and viewership, readership, and they're doing pretty well. So Gaon Connection, Khabar Lahariya, similarly there are community radio stations in Bhuj, in many other places, in Chhattisgarh, many other places, how the local tribal people or women of Bhuj, for example, are running Bhuj mein Kutch district of Gujarat. They are running community radio. Fabulous. I also would like to mention that a country like Nepal, which has only 3.5 crores population, 3.5 crores population, just to give an idea, West Bengal itself has 9 crore population. This 1/3 of the population of West Bengal. It has 346 radio stations. There are radio stations in every district and several, 75 districts, now 77 districts are there, 346 radio stations. Government has been liberal also. In our case, there are certain limitations on the policy sector. In Nepal, interestingly, I found one radio station. It's called Chunumunu FM. Chunumunu is about children. They call the children as Chunumunu. So the radio station anchor, scriptwriter, interviewer, all are below 14 years of age. Yeah, and they're interviewing the Prime Minister of the country also, the local biggies and all that. It is there in the Tarai region of Nepal. Very interesting. And they actually bring not just this radio station, all the 346 together. There are interesting perspectives. There is one radio station called Sagarmatha radio station, which is completely devoted to development journalism, sustainability, and all those issues. So these are fabulous examples in our own backyard, in South Asia itself. Then very rightly said Professor Suresh, obsession with politics in Indian mainstream journalism to the detriment of understanding governance and development mode. So yes, and very nice differentiation between governance and politics has been done. This is another important factor. Grassroots stories of development investigation are largely blacked out of the mainstream. Please understand, the mainstream has become a major corporate media. I think this point was also mentioned by Dr. Sunal Pandya briefly. Corporatization of media has led to media being, I remember one of the guys from Times of India had told, and our newspaper is an advertisement paper, and where we don't find to fill up the spaces between two ads, we put news. So it's the news is secondary, the ads are primary. And this was officially, or not officially, means publicly told by one of the business leaders of Times of India in the past. So this has become the reality. So let's look at the alternate media. And alternate media, as has been rightly mentioned earlier, the alternate media has become, particularly by Dr. Rahmatullah, this coming in of immersive content and coming in of the 2 points he brought out, immersive content and social media. This has brought the importance or significance of mainstream media much lower, much lower. The way OTT has come and the impact of television serials have gone down, and even to an extent the impact of cinema, regular cinema, has gone down. Similarly, this immersive media and social media has become, I don't know, sometime later they may become the mainstream media in a way. At least the mainstream media is taking note of that. In fact, the tweets of the Prime Minister and Man Ki Baat in radio are the sources of news for every other media. So not just that, even Amitabh Bachchan's blogs and tweets, LK Advani's blogs earlier, a few years earlier, were a major source of news. So the alternative factor of news platforms coming up. Platform not being excellent stories from grassroots. Yeah, this is another fabulous idea to create an online platform where the best stories of various other different media can come and be represented for a larger audience. If this can be done, this can be done by any university, can be done by any business organization, any NGO, or even an association of institutes. If this can be done, this would be a fabulous thing to happen. I will. There are our hard stop. 7 minutes are there. I'll request 1 minute only each speaker to speak about what suggestions you have for educational institute. This is being organized in a university, and we all represent various universities and educational institutes. What role can the universities or educational institute do to increase awareness and also involvement in sustainable development goals or sustainability in general? Just 1 minute only. We have 7-8 minutes to go. And I begin with Dr. Dayathusu first.
Thank you. I would just say that one word kind of summarizes it. It is quality. In this field in which I've been now for 30 years, I think India is still has lots to do. There's this beautiful couplet which I might use, well, apologies for people whose Hindi may not be as good, is from a poet called Ashok Chakradhar. Some of you may know his work. He's a fantastic poet and writer. He says, ना ईंटों से ना गारे से घर बनता है घर वालों से. So you need people of quality, people with ideas. They're not doing derivative work. They're not doing what the European NGOs ask them to do, but do something which is genuinely rooted in as complex and as exciting a place as India.
Thank you.
And I think if that happens, then they'll be replicated across the global south.
Quality people. Thank you very much. Dr. Rahmatullah, one suggestion for the universities to bring in sustainability to the fore.
Thank you, sir, for your giving me the floor once again. Just what we do in AIOB, we say clean campus, green energy, reduce waste. So these are the things we are actually teaching our students. So students must learn from the university itself. And then about the media, the ethics, that is also what we are teaching. So what we think that the students should look at the campus, they will keep it clean, they will follow the targets and the goals. I hope that we will be achieving it by 2030. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Clean campus, green campus, waste management to the front. That's fabulous. That's exactly what QS Sustainable Universities parameters are. That's what exactly green new metric ranking of universities looks like. Dr. Ambarish Saxena.
Yeah, I believe that students has to be brought to the forefront. We organize all kind of academic discourses wherein we speak and the students are simply receiving or listening to what we are doing. Instead, they should be brought to the front. They can be guided, they can be supervised, but then they should be in the front position to decide as to what kind of activities are desired to understand the sustainable development goals, and they themselves should be into organizing such kind of activities like we do in our institution, some seminar on water conservation, some seminar on environment protection, or doing plantation themselves. Such kind of activities we should allow students to take up on their own, so that a momentum is created in educational institution, and it should be a more active environment created.
Right. So students driven initiatives actively, that is the focus. Dr. Sonal Pandya.
See, we all talked about the, we talked about the alternative media, but basically, historically also we were preparing the media professional for the mainstream media. So in context of, we hardly think about the diversity of our newsroom. And some of the grassroots level issues are not coming in the mainstream media because all the journalists are coming from the middle class urban background. So I think we have to teach them the empathy learning. Because now seeing is not believing. In development communication, feeling is believing. If you live with the migrant of the Narmada, then you can feel the price of the water in your glass, which is you are drinking. I think we have to work on the empathy learning module and not just seeing is believing, feeling is believing.
Great.
And,
Very
that is
good lesson. Empathy learning. From seeing is believing to feeling is believing. Thank you. Dr. Pooja Mahesh.
I believe I believe most important thing is media literacy. So as students of media and communication, they can propagate how media literacy is important, how each individual who is not aware of how to decipher the messages which are there in media. So I think media literacy can play a key role.
Great. In fact, I wanted to end this session with talking on media literacy, but that you have already noted very rightly. Media literacy at the grassroots is the only way to sensitize the learning community, not just the learning community, even the society at large. Uh, Professor Suresh.
Sirs, hello. So
Yeah.
Professor Suresh sir is not here. He is occupied in
Okay,
another
never
meeting.
mind. So I'll conclude this session on
Recording stopped.
key points by mentioning the key points that in this concluding round, every speaker has told. Quality people. Creating quality people will create a rippling effect, as Dr. Dayathusu has rightly said. So universities have a major role in creating quality people who will take the message out there. Clean campus, green campus, west to best. As a policy, clean campus is a policy every university should take up. In fact, Adamas University, where the program is happening, is quite a green campus, and there are a lot of initiatives on west to best or best management being done there. I had seen myself, I've been part of many of them, and this can, in fact, it can be actually applying for some international ranking on green campus. So there are many other aspects also. Actually, UNESCO has come out and Umetric Green has come out with 24 or 25 parameters of a green campus. If we actually implement all, it would be a fabulous campus indeed. Student-driven initiatives are very, very right thing. Today, education is no more top-down. It's top-down and bottoms-up both together. So it's no more unidirectional. It's multi-directional. So Dr. Saxena has very rightly noted about student-driven initiatives to bring sustainability as a culture among students, and it will have a rippling effect in the society at large. Empathy learning. Many a time we see poverty, but we don't feel the poverty. Many a time we go to the villages only to click a few pictures of some lake or trees and roadside shops and all, without actually understanding their life and the issues involved, and even the beauty of their lives, not just the crisis alone. Crisis perhaps is far more in our urban lives. So empathy learning, not just seeing but feeling, that's the critical point. And very rightly said, Madam Pooja, media literacy. Media literacy where you create an awareness of right and wrong new aspects of media, good and bad advertisements, good and bad films, how to identify false content masquerading as news, and how to take issues closer to the people, how to understand what are the issues closer to the people. Manufactured news versus real grassroots news, the differentiation between the two. This sort of things can only come through various levels of media literacy. Thank you very much, panelists. This is a very erudite, knowledgeable panel. I have also enjoyed noting down 4 pages of notes. Like a good student of Dr. Dayathusu, I have taken 4 pages of notes of all the critical. I can write an article now, write an article on the theme, even quoting many of you, with a little bit of 5 or 10, 2-3 hours of research. In addition to these points, I can come out with at least a newspaper article, if not a journal article, obviously. Thank you very much. I think the youngsters there might have also enjoyed. The organizers, thank you very much for organizing it so smoothly. And indeed, the digital has arrived. It was a blended program with audience and one speaker in person, and the rest of the speakers online. Thank you very much. Back to you. I think I've finished it 1:32, 2 minutes extra taken. We started 12 minutes late. Thank you and bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Students, you can break for lunch. Again, we have a session from 2:30 in the media building. We will not come back to the auditorium. We would be meeting each other in the media building at 2:30 p.m. Okay, so the students who have participated in the poster presentation, they have to come to this building, AU1. Only the students who have participated in the poster making competition.